Hi there, and welcome to the I'll Try That podcast. This week we are sampling. I'm gonna quack like a duck.
This is no time for farmyard impressions.
Yeah, it's the Belgian beer that you drink out of a cool glass.
What an intro!
All the Belgian beers you drink out of a cool glass.
And we'll learn a bit more about that later, won't we, boys?
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh yeah,
hooray!
Can't wait. Yeah, I'm also joined by Joe and Barber.
Oh hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So that's nice. But first, I'm gonna hand you over to Matt Barber. Why did I blank on your name? I've really
Clearly, I'm in trouble.
I've been really struggling recently with just remembering things.
This is going to sound like an episode where we're hammered, and we've done one episode before this, and that was a no-low beer. We really.
Oh god!
To be fair, that was probably one of the smoothest entrances Rich has done actually for us, which is very good.
I like that. Gives us an air of authenticity.
Yeah. Barber, hot topic. You go.
Hot topic. Me now. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So how long's the podcast been going? Is it coming up on 3 years?
Yeah.
Can it really be already?
It is.
Has it been 3 years?
It's definitely 2.5 already.
It's gonna be in April, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my god.
April, May time.
Yeah.
Heavens above. So
Wow.
Obviously our lives have been, very deeply enriched in those last 3 years. Do we feel that there's been something missing out of the last 3 years? And if so, what do you think it is?
It's missing.
Cake.
What's been missing?
Well, we've had cake all the way through, haven't we? Well, maybe you specifically have been missing cake. Yeah, you've been taking your food intake a bit more seriously, I think, than maybe in the last few years.
Yeah.
So that's probably. I get that. I get you missing that.
And you know what? This isn't a right or wrong answer. This is kind of a little bit opening. I am going to venture an answer at the end, but I'm here. I'm all ears for whatever suggestions you might have. And anything else been missing from the last 3 years?
Trips to New York or time in New York. I haven't been back since I left over 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm missing that for sure. Seeing friends, seeing people.
Considering you lived there, that is probably quite a stark absence, isn't it?
Sunsets.
Sorry, that's very poetic, Trevor. Have you not seen the sunsets in the last 3 years?
I just feel I could have said more.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if so, what have you been doing at dusk?
Just kind of like hanging out.
Okay, looking the wrong way.
Under bridges,
Facing east, I guess.
Yeah. He's had plenty of sunrises through his time those 3 years.
Yeah, nailed it. Someone's just got to come over and turn him round. Before this gets any weirder, I'll tell you what's been missing. I'll tell you what's been missing, and that is, of course, the great sausage roll-off.
What? This sounds like the best thing I've never heard of, but I need it in my life.
I think, to be honest, this is a flimsy pretext for hot topicking, really. But it's just a thing that's very well named, and therefore we wanted to talk about. It's been reported in Beer Today a week from time of recording, so actually it probably will have happened by the time that this comes out. But on February the 8th, the Red Line pub in Barnes is hosting the Great Sausage Roll-Off again. The older I get, let's just get this straight. The older I get, the more I think sausage rolls are absolutely fantastic. And they
are the best. They are one of the best foods.
For those of you whose reasons of deduction are somewhat wanting, this is basically, there is a sausage roll competition that happens at the Red Line pub in Barnes. It's been going on since 2013. Obviously, there has been a hiatus since then, but it's coming back, and they've just announced their judging panel. Some famous names here: Simon Rimmer from Sunday Lunch, James O'Brien from LBC, Kate Nichols, OBE from UK Hospitality.
I love they put OBE
Daniel
in
Clifford,
there as well. Like, just to let you know.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Daniel Clifford, Midsummer House, and Pip Lacey from Hitcher. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Angus McKean said, "I'm so excited to show off this year's judging panel. I'm very humbled by their commitment to head down to Barnes for the night. We've not held roll off for 3 years, so I'm delighted we're coming back with a banger this year. The calibre of judges means our entrants have a tough challenge ahead of them. What I really like is I listen to LBC from time to time, and James O'Brien's on there. And as I understand, James O'Brien is also a judge on like Britain's best kebab." Which is, I really want his gig, basically. But
does he just get to go around just hosting takeaway foods?
Like, yeah, can you imagine?
Like the great fish and chip, because like every single fish and chip shop seems to have an award for best fish and chip shop. Yeah. Whenever you go there, so is that his job? He just goes around different fast food outlets, just saying, "You've got an award." Well,
no. He, to be honest, that's not his main job. His main job is a radio DJ. But this is just his extracurricular activities, I guess, which is pretty good. Yeah. And also, I mean, if he's looking for any other job, if he gets bored of being a DJ, he can always say, "Look, I do this. I was commit to my job very seriously. I'm imagining I'm writing his CV for him." But he can turn around and go, in my spare time, I judge kebabs and sausage rolls.
Imagine, or that's his on his dating profile. Tell me something that you don't know about me that you don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to think every picture on his profile is just him eating a different fast food, but kind of candlelight.
I think he's actually somewhat more of a hard-hitting, a little bit political commentator. So actually, I think a lot of the sausage rolls and kebabs go in the background. But it's that is nice work if you can get it, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a good gig.
That is the kind of my dream gig.
It's also just a good. Times are tough at the moment. Food, the crisis. For prices and everything's going through the roof. It's nice to have an evening of free food, It's good to know.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, this has actually been a timely reminder of the fact that I've got some puff pastry in the fridge, the Just Roll stuff. I really ought to have a go at making my own sausage rolls.
It's a really good one. I've got some as well, and we've been scratching our heads, what are we going to do with it? And actually, sausage rolls might have to be the answer.
So are we all agreeing that next year we're going to the sausage roll-off?
We need something to break up the January, February, March sort of vibe.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm down.
You know what? I'd really like to think one of them just turns up with a Greggs sausage roll and tries to claim it as his own.
See if anyone notices. I don't know, man. I feel like I've missed out. Greggs is just not a place I think to go to that often. And everyone tells me how good actually, I do like a steak bake. In fact, we went to the Greggs when we were in Weymouth, right?
Yeah, we went to Greggs with roll.
My beef with Greggs, quite literally with the beef, is because I'm a big steak bake fiend. I love it. But I hadn't had one for years. I'm saying probably close to 7 years. Had a steak bake, and they changed the recipe. It was different, and it's like new Coke. I just couldn't get on with it. I had to get rid of it. I was like, no.
That's how I feel about hash browns.
What in general?
What? Yeah, hash browns have changed.
I'm convinced they have. It seems like all hash browns I have these days are like the not as good hash browns that I'd had in the past, and I don't know whose hash browns they were that I had that were really good before.
No.
But I like to think recently, and I love one.
I like to think there's a conspiracy that every hash brown you have, people are swapping out the good ones and giving you the bad ones.
Yeah. It's like I've got a kind of little mischievous spirit going ahead of me wherever I'm about to have a dirty fry up breakfast and go take away his good hash browns. Good. Well, I'm glad we managed to seal all of that off before it got weird.
Talking of the good stuff. I couldn't wait to talk about Quack. I think you did good service there, Rich, in the intro. But Quack. Yeah. It is as ridiculous a name as it sounds. But now we've said it, and you realise and now you've heard us talking about it, and realise it's an actual beer. You won't be able to get that word out of your head. And when you see it in real life, you'll go, "Oh yeah, Quack!" and you'll say it in that kind of exclamation way.
I've been saying so. Also, just because it was because I was looking for lots of places. Quite hard to get hold of Quack. I found. I've been getting into it. I'm guessing we pronounce it Pauwels. Pauwels?
Yes, that's how I would say it. Yes.
So it's Pauwels Kwak, which is from... anyone want to have a crack at pronouncing the name of the brewery?
Yeah, I got this. Wait there. Where is it? I can't find it on the bottle.
Oh, you promised, Drabbers, that you were all over this.
As we discussed from the start, I'm a bit out of it right now. This is
it's not
you can do it.
Well, Bosteels.
Yeah,
Bosteel Brewery,
and we'll edit it so it looks like you had the information right on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah. It's just I don't know where my head is right now.
The quack's gone to your head. Because it's a punchy beer. It's 8 point. What is it? 8.4%. 8.4%. Ooh, I mean, it's a proper Belgian.
Really,
it is delicious. Really, though I can't express how much I'm enjoying this quack right now. And I want to say
bananery. Did I hear one of you say?
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go on. I was going to say, did I hear someone say bananery earlier on? Was it you, Drubbers? You got the banana sort of.
That was my first whiff of it was banana I got from it.
That is absolutely bananas.
But not quite, like a nice banana, but like the foam bananas that you get, like the sweetie foam bananas.
Oh, I think
I know what you mean. But I was quite liking your banana thing because the more I'm like sniffing it and trying it, and I'm picturing banana, the more I'm going, it's got a sweetness to it. But I think that's also because of the fermentation, the sugars that you're kind of getting from it. Because it is although this version we're having, which is the amber, which is the original Kwak beer. They do have a blonde, and they do have a rouge as well, which is like their cherry version as well. This is the original one that started it all. The one that started it all.
I didn't think I would enjoy it.
Why is
that? In all honesty, I don't know, just when the initial look and the initial smell and everything like that. But it's really nice. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
It's a thinker rather than a drinker, to use a phrase I think I mentioned before, isn't it? Set yourself a bit of time to go and actually sit and enjoy this. Don't drink it because you're going and having a session. It's get yourself in a nice armchair with a little bit of time to kill and sit and sip it and, think about the world.
I'd quite like to be in a... like the leather chairs, wingback chairs.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite like to, with a fire roaring, sort of thing, and the possibility of smoking a cigar.
Ooh. I'd hold the cigar because I wouldn't be. I'd be coughing and spluttering all over the place. It might ruin my own experience of this drinking of quack. But I do. I agree.
You'd be quacking everywhere.
I'd be quacking all over. Terrible. But to be fair, what drew me to this beer the very first time I ever had it actually was in Worcester with my dad at the Belgian beer cafe, and it was the fantastic glassware and wood holding device, whatever you want to call it, that the glass goes in, because this glass I'm holding up, gentlemen, is a lovely big tall thing with a bulbous bottom, which you can't put down. You have to put it into its holder. It's holster. It's holster in order to drink it. Now, Barber, do you have anything on why this glass is shaped the way it is?
Well, you're asking that because I do.
Here's one I made earlier.
Well, there's a couple of things here. Before I explain why, I did want to point out that off air, Joe and I were having... Well, we didn't have a debate. It's far more friendly than that. But
a proper pub chat. I think we had a proper pub chat about this.
Yeah. I think I was venturing the idea that the whole point is you leave the glass in the wooden holster and you pick the wooden holder by the handle for pouring and for drinking with. And I think you were saying, Joe, that you were fairly sure that actually you use it for pouring, but not necessarily for drinking.
It was even news to me that you could hold it up with the wooden handle. I think I was always just thinking you just take the glass out of the holster and you just use it for holding the glass still when you're not holding the glass. But you're absolutely right in that you could, and I have been trying both ways, you can hold the wood and both consume the liquid with it, and I use it to pour in.
Straight from it, yeah. And so actually that got us onto the topic of me going, well, do you know, I'm going to bloody show him. I'm going to go and find out and tell him that, yeah, no, you are meant to hold up the wooden bit. We'll get into how well that went in a minute. But the first tool I happened upon was basically a beer community chat, beeradvocate.com, which may have other topics going on. And so I read one testimony on there and I thought, wow, okay, you know, that perfectly convinces us of one way. And then read another one and go, oh, okay, maybe it's the other way. So there was people saying, so remove the glass from the holder and don't use the holder as a handle for the glass. This seems to be consensus. We've then got just lift the whole thing up by the wooden handle and drink. We've got people saying, when I lived in Belgium, I never saw anybody take the glass out of the wooden holder. You use the wooden part as a handle and drink it like that. It's actually kind of hard to get the glass out of the wood, and for a reason. It's supposed to be there. The next person then said, every time I've had it, I always remove it from the wood. It's always kind of awkward to try and pick it up by that thing, but it does have a handle suggesting that's what it's for. I know someone else had also said you can pick it up by the handle, but also if you do that too quickly, it can fall out of the little divot at the bottom of the glass.
That's what I found with it
as well.
Especially in the latter stages of consumption of the beer. I'm right in the bulb bottom end of it, and it's almost slipped a couple of times out of its holster. I'm sure it would get caught. Yeah. It's not going to properly fall out, but it was a little bit disconcerting, I must say.
So would we just assume it's a bit more dealer's choice when it comes to how you drink it?
I feel you can do it either way, Trabs. I feel you could do.
Yeah.
I think if I was in a pub serving quack, I think I would look disapprovingly on someone no matter what they did. Just be like, a head in my hands going, oh, he's picking up the wooden handle. Oh, for God's sake, he's picked the glass up and left the wooden handle behind. One idiot.
I'd really like to think that if you did go to Belgium and start drinking out of one of these and you did it incorrectly, you'd be chased out of any bar, pub, or restaurant that you did it from. Just refuse service.
It goes back to, I think I can jump in because I think you're about to talk about why this glass is in this particular way. Maybe I can just jump in to give you the starting points for that, because I think I know where you're going with it. But basically, this beer started out in Napoleon's time. You know, obviously we know French, you know, Prime Minister, leading general, all this guy. It took all the nations of Europe to stop Napoleon, blah, blah, blah. We've heard all the stories. But there was a brewer and owner of the De Hoorn Inn in Dendermonde, which is a Flemish part of Belgium, over on the eastern side of Belgium. And basically male coaches stopped there every day. And so the coachmen weren't allowed to actually leave their coaches and horses in order to have their thirst quenched along with the passengers. So I think you were about to say, is this where you were about to pick up, Barbs?
You were about,
there you go.
You were about to, so it is actually, this is known as the coachman's glass.
Love it.
And actually it comes from a bit of a context as like, there are almost as many glasses for the number of beers in Belgium, but obviously the Quack one is really iconic that it can't stand on its own. It's got to stand in this rack thing. But basically, and the reason why I think, Joe, in the end, you were correct in that you aren't supposed to pick up the wooden handle and lift it up is because the sort of top part of the handle is actually something that was attached onto the coaches.
Brilliant.
And the coach drivers, having these particularly thick gloves, couldn't get their hands around a sort of normal glass or pop it onto the side. So they needed to have this kind of like quite small, thin neck. And then they needed to have something that they could rest it on. So they put it on the stand, and the stand was actually attached to the coach itself. And that's how they were picking it up.
It's so good. Gabs, I'm going to send you a photo. I'm going to send you a photo that you can have a look at on the chat, because it is brilliant.
So this is the original beer holder.
Basically,
it was like cup holder.
I think you're right. It is the original cup holder. That's such a good analogy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also think they've completely and utterly overcomplicated the process.
Tell us more.
Because they could have just built a cup holder. That's not a hard concept, surely, because they had bowls and other things like that. Why couldn't they just build that into the coach?
Well, you're right. I think it goes back to what Charlotte McEwen was just saying, where, you know... Why did I have to say it? Because it popped up on chat.
Outrageous.
What Barber was saying was the fact that they couldn't hold normal glassware because of these big gloves they had on. Is that right, Barber?
Yeah, exactly. I imagine the idea was pretty cold. A good thing to warm you up, though, as well, is quack, isn't it?
How big are these gloves?
Oh, mate, like the size of a house. I quite like to expand on my idea as if I'm honestly suggesting that you actually pick up the wooden handle. Way back in Napoleonic times, technically, if you wanted to drink it, you needed to pick up a whole cart just to get the glass on one side.
I think maybe we've tapped into like one of the oldest, old school versus the new school. The old school is just about the glassware, whereas the new school is you pick up the wooden structure as well.
Big time.
But I love it. This is so cool. It's just so unusual, and as you said, it's like there are every beer and brewery worth their salt have their own glassware, but this is one of the most iconic ones. So I had to have it. You just had to have this. But also as well a classic as well with a heritage beer that's got such a pomp and circumstance around it, as in having its own glass structure with a wooden frame. It also has its own pouring ritual as well, which I subjected you both to off camera. The pouring ritual of the beer, not too dissimilar to the Guinness pouring situation, where you have to start off with at an angle, pour about half in, maybe just under half, and then put it down, let it settle, let the head form, and then you pour in the rest like as a straight bottle, basically at the top. And it creates, as you would imagine with most Belgian beers, like about a 7 centimetre head, which is a chunky head on the top of a beer.
Beautiful.
I do thoroughly enjoy it. I do love a good glass, and this is definitely up there in the top 10.
You won't get a more iconic one, will you?
Who do we think owns the brewery of Kwak and the brand of Kwak?
Some ducks.
Oh, no idea. I kind of assumed it was they've kept it in the family sort of thing, Bosteels, but I'm prepared to be told wrong, because I think also they do a couple of others, don't they, that aren't as famous. I was reading a little bit about the Tripel Carmeliet, Deus, and something else. Or they've started doing, in 2019 they made a new beer. It was called Monte Cristo. But I would have thought that if they were owned by a big brewing company, that we would have, I'd have been able to get hold of them a bit more easily. And that, you would see them more around the place. But no, go on. Who owns them?
Well, it's only that small company of AB InBev.
No!
Oh, cute little independent
brewery.
Yeah, so they're owned by AB InBev, and they have been for quite a while. Which I thought was quite surprising, because there's obviously nothing about AB InBev all over them. And the fact, to your point, Barber, you can't really get them very easily. This was difficult to get, but you can get them quite easily in like on trade. So when you go to like Belgian style bars, or you go to certain restaurants that might sell it, like you can definitely get it there. But yeah, I mean, they haven't really hit the supermarket scene, but I have to wonder it's because they have a very unique like consumption vessel, the glassware and the wooden thing. I have to feel that's why they haven't really hit the UK stores, supermarkets by storm, because this in a can just wouldn't really cut it, would it?
It just wouldn't be the selling point. I think the selling point is the glass and that how iconic it is and stuff like that. And I don't think I would be enthralled to buy this in a can and pour it out and be like, Kwak time.
Yeah, and just a couple of cans of Kwak. It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah. Who's getting on the Kwak tonight?
But then, to be fair, that actually, you got a little bit of tip of the hat to AB InBev, and then not mucking around with something that is steeped in history and tradition, has got like that identity of its own.
Yeah. Well, this is a delicious beer. I do enjoy a Kwak whenever I have one. And the fact that I've now invested my a small fortune into getting the glassware and the the wooden frame, and it's more that I actually kind of wish that they did have bottles of Kwak more for the refill aspect in my local supermarket, so I can go and use my vessel. But I do wish it was more available, because it is a really delicious beer. I can't get over just how enjoyable this is. But at 8.4%, it is a hefty Belgian beer for sure. But it doesn't taste like a very strong beer. I think that's the danger of it. Is it's gone down very quaffable. It's very quaffable, basically. It's very smooth. I kind of like that banana-y kind of comment you made earlier on, Drabs, actually. I just quite like that. That's quite interesting.
I finished that far too quickly, which is it was as I thought I wouldn't be a fan, but it is delicious, and it's a little bit sweeter than I thought it would be, and I think that's why I quite like it.
You know how old they are, Drabbers, right?
Oh, don't they?
Yeah. It's not like you. What's going on?
I know. They're just.
He did say he was in a weird mood today, so
that's it. Maybe
it doesn't taste like sherbet. I don't like it. None of that this week, is there?
Look, when something's good, I'll admit it's good.
Oh, I was going to say, brings me on to an interesting point here. I didn't run this by you guys. I actually had an email from a listener this week, and they said, Dear guys, I really love the podcast. How come Drabbers is so wrong about Timothy Taylor's and pretty much everything? Shall I let you field that one? The silence is deafening.
I have to explain one other thing. I've just spotted something else on their Instagram while I was just looking up their numbers while we're having this another hearty debate about Timothy Taylor's. I've just noticed, because obviously we've just kind of talked about how actually it's quite unobtainable, this whole glassware with wooden structure thing, and I did kind of allude that it's not inexpensive. Quack have got the solution. Do you want to think what this solution might be?
Is it contact your local scaffolder and have them put something together that's similar but cheaper?
Yeah, or your local carpenter. And glass blower, and just get them to do something. So what they're doing is they're offering, and it's only in Belgian supermarkets at the moment. It might get rolled out worldwide if this is a real hit.
Well, we live in hope.
It's a version of this like kind of weird, tall glass, but with a flat bottom. Who'd have thought it? Actually putting a bottom on it that you can hold and put it down.
Whoa, slow down there, Brainiac.
The box, the cardboard box that this particular glass comes in.
I'm with you.
You fold it up in a particular way, and it becomes the holding bit. So you can pretend that you've got the real thing, but you have a really rubbish one.
I really want you to do the voiceover for the advert.
It's not as good as this one, but
it becomes the holding bit. Look at that.
The holding bit.
We've got a bit.
And you can pretend that you're having the real deal, but you're not. Fab. So,
psych.
Let's do the numbers very quickly. I can't find them on Twitter. So Instagram, you have 5,201 followers.
Yay!
And I think we pushed them over to the 1. I think they were 5,200 before, and now we are for 5,201th Instagram follower. There you go.
Lucky brewery.
So yeah, interesting quack.
Quack.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.